Okay, guys. So now we'll proceed with kind of discussing what's tier less means and what's the benefit that pros and cons between an organization following tier less or an organization following tier one and tier two and three. Okay. So let's go with that. So so I will first kind of mention few points about tier less. Okay. So there are a few things to kind of consider in tier less. There is that everyone in a tierless environment works together to get everything done. Okay. So there's no, so for any alert that is coming in, let's say it is high severity or low severity, everyone get a chance to kind of work on that. Okay. In a full-fledged manner, they can kind of take a total look. So even like, let's say there's a fresher, and there's a high severity alert that came up, and they believe that their technical skills are sufficient to handle that. So the tier one guys, so the fresher guys in a tier less organization will handle the full investigation on their own, and whenever they need a certain technical session, they will kind of get that from the experienced guy in the team. Okay, so there is no separation of duties. So yeah, so one of the good thing about tier less is that even new analysts can use all the available data and tools. There's no need to kind of separate out the tool access environment. So with the other benefit of tier less is that it is only set up when it is kind of felt by manager that the analysts in the team are self-guided and they work for the team benefit. Okay, they will be able to kind of make better names for the team they work for in the eyes of leadership. And thing is that in TLS there are kind of a the progression is like senior security engineer, or let's say lead, senior security lead. So these are certain career progression which will start, let's say, from security analyst to going forward with senior security engineer or senior security lead, something like that. So these are the kind of career progression that is kind of normally seen in a tierless environment. In a tiered approach, which is tier two and three, there is actually a defined roles, clear path for promotion. That is one thing. It is a more structured approach because the there has been separation of duties. It is kind of more efficient for kind of handing over. There is more efficient process to hand over certain tasks from tier one to tier three. Then, as I discussed, there are kind of obviously it offers less freedom in terms of restrictions to tools and data, and sometimes it is like there is kind of little bit less ability to kind of explore and learn in certain cases. So if there's a high severity alert, so maybe the tier one guys won't get a chance to kind of see how that incident took the shape, because they will be kind of busy in kind of handling the other alerts that is kind of coming in. Okay, so but we need to kind of balance the task over here. So in those kind of scenario, if there's an organization that where tier one, tiered architecture is set up. So what tier one can do is that once they forward the high severity alert to the higher team, like tier two and three, later they can kind of ask those team members to share the document of how the incident took the shape and how this incident arose, and then they will learn from there what all things that those tier two and three guys did, and if and then develop such capabilities within himself or herself, that if that similar task comes in later, they can handle those tasks from by themselves. Okay, so overall thing is that neither is right. It's just that like it optimized. The company decide which architecture to follow based on like what's optimized, what are their needs, and how the architecture of their company looks like. So a little bit more about this is that uh, tierless SOC, which is also called like or tierless security operations center, are kind of you can treat it as kind of an alternative operating module that offer analysts more freedom, flexibility compared to traditional tiered SOC. In tiered SOC, what happens is that analyst often faces repetitive tasks and limited opportunity for growth, which can lead to frustration. Okay, whereas tierless SOC aims to kind of address this issue by allowing analysts to have unrestricted access to data and tools without any artificial limitation. So evidence suggests that analysts in tierless SOC are generally happier in their job, which I have seen. Uh, so while tierless SOC may be perceived as kind of less structured, they offer potential benefits such as increase. One of the things is like increase retention of the tech talent analysts, because they are really happy with the work that they are doing, the access that they have got. This in turn enable the SOC team to kind of tackle more complex tasks that requires higher level of expertise. However, it is important to note that TLS SOC should not be kind of chaotic in nature. Okay, it shouldn't be that okay, a task came in and we are just kind of fighting among ourselves, like who will kind of handle that task. Okay, it shouldn't be kind of chaotic. There are certain benefits, so we should take that as an opportunity. So if a task comes in, we try to grab that opportunity and work on that task. In the same time, the member should also kind of have a notice that, okay, this guy is kind of really burned out, he has been kind of working from last 1 week, so next new alert comes in, they should automatically close those tasks and make the analyst that was working from last 1 week, regress working from last 1 week, give you some time to kind of rest. Okay, so these are some of the things that in a TLS organization, the member needs to be kind of uh, uh, engaged on. Okay, and there is obviously a need for the managers to kind of also step in and help the TLS architecture team to kind of take certain decisions. Okay, so as I told, one of the significant advantages new analysts can kind of quickly learn advanced techniques and engage in complex analysis and decision without having to wait for kind of promotion. So that's one benefit of tierless. And this model actually foster continuous growth and enable analysts to take on additional responsibilities as they become ready. So overall, I'll say before completing this, before exiting from this discussion, is that tierless SOC provides a more flexible and dynamic environment for SOC analysts, potentially leading to a increased job satisfaction and skill development. But again, I'll say it all depends on the organization. There's nothing right or wrong. It's all depend on the organization. All depend on the organization requirements. All depends on the organization policies and guidelines that they need to follow on. Okay, so that's all about tier one, tier two, and three. Are there any questions, guys, on this topic before I proceed further with next slide?
Can you give a small brief on so they will be analyzing on alerts so can you give a difference between what is event, alarm, and incident?
Event, alarm, and incident. Okay, okay, okay. So uh, let's say one of the event was, so there can be like event, alarm, and incident is something like, let's say there can be hundreds and thousands of events happening right now on my system, the system that I am working on. Let's say there has been there are a lot of kind of communications, kind of back and forth communication with the external IP addresses that is happening right now uh, with uh, on my system right now. Okay, so these all events, there's we can't kind of, what you say is that we can't address all those hundred thousands event that is happening at every let's say at every 1 minute in my system or in any other system. Okay, alarm will be something, so alarm is something which is actually filtering those events. Okay, treat it like that. Alarm is something which is filtering those events, and thing is that on those thousands and thousands of events that is happening at every 5 minutes, or let's say every 1 minute, alarm is something which is highlighting, okay, in this hundreds of events, these are the 10 events which seems to be little bit suspicious. Okay, little bit suspicious. Okay, now thing is that, let's say my system is kind of communicating with an external IP address, and that IP address, let's say, had it was a known malicious IP address. So in those thousands of events, alarm, what it does is like consigns certain few events which needs to be further looked upon. Okay, so this is just an alarm. Okay, now how that